Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As we welcome you this evening to the Alternative View with myself, Inayet Wadee. And it is Monday night. It is the 22nd of June, 2020, as we welcome you on this beautiful Monday evening to the show from now right until 9 p.m. Well, we certainly have got an exciting lineup coming for you this evening. In a few minutes, we are going to be talking with Islamic Relief South Africa, and we'll be joined by Abdul-Aleem Gamza, who is the head of the Fundraising and Development Department. Later on in the program, we are looking at racism, and this comes against the background of the killing of George Floyd. We'll be joined out of the United States of America by Sheikh Yawar Beg. And then the big one from 8 to 9 p.m. You can join us on the webinar. And remember, all of this is coming to you live on facebook.com/Salam Media. And we are focusing against the background of World Refugee Day. We are looking at displacement, forced migration, and the effects of war. We have got quite an exciting lineup for you this evening. People like Catherine Constantinides, Louis Mudge, Kori Ziad Patel, Nadia Hardman, and also Ola Bata, who will be joining us in the webinar from 8 to 9 p.m. So a lot to come on the show this evening. But before that, we are going to link up with the head of development, fundraising and development at Islamic Relief South Africa. And they have launched an appeal with regards to Yemen and supporting Islamic Relief and their projects in Yemen. And this is an emergency appeal that is going out because they are on the ground and with a very, very strong resolve, I must add, to save lives across Yemen. And Islamic Relief has been distributing food across a wide area and providing food for more than 2.5 million people every month. So Yemen at this point in time is in crisis mode. And as the entire world is in crisis mode against the background of COVID-19, but let us not forget, yesterday was World Refugee Day. The millions, close on to 80 million people who are displaced right across the entire world. And that is where a large part of our program is going to be focusing on tonight. But we are going now to be joined by Abdul-Aleem Gamza. Abdul-Aleem, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh to yourself, Brother Inayet, and the listeners and of Salam Media.
Welcome, and wonderful having you with us once again. And tonight, we got so used to talking to you on the morning show, but we get to see your handsome face tonight. And Alhamdulillah, it is going out on facebook.com/Salam Media. Now, we are going to be talking about Yemen and Yemen in crisis. Yemen has been in crisis for a very, very long time. And with Islamic Relief having a very strong presence on the ground, if you could just take us through the current situation in Yemen on the ground right now, Abdul-Aleem.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. All praise and thanks is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our nourisher, our protector. And indeed, Yemen comes on the backdrop of a country that has been forgotten. A country that nobody seems to be talking about except media like yourselves. Mainstream media does not speak about Yemen at all. So one of the things that we've learned about society is that when we do not see something in mainstream media, we tend to forget about it. We tend not to talk about it. The most topical thing right now for everybody is COVID-19. So if you took COVID-19 and you add that to the crisis that we have in Yemen, and then you see what the results could be. SubhanAllah, if you look at South Africa, we are sitting with about just under 50 million people around about there in our country. If we imagined half of our population being in need of humanitarian aid. Now, we're not talking about people just being hungry. Humanitarian aid covers various sectors. And it would cover, for an example, food, medical assistance, emergency medical assistance, shelter, and so many other aspects. So if you're looking at that, and you said that is the situation that we currently have in Yemen at the moment, you speak about out of that 24 million individuals, 12 million being children. And now again, just let us think about it. Yesterday was Sunday. We celebrated in South Africa, maybe around the globe, there was something called Father's Day. What was the celebration of Father's Day like, for an example, was for a child in Yemen? What did it mean to him? What's the percentage of orphans that we have in Yemen? Have we thought about that? Some of them don't even have father to be having a Father's Day with. So that in itself, that notion does not exist yesterday. We've gone through, and think many times people think that at the end of Ramadan, I don't have to give any more charity, sadaqah, zakat, whatever it is, I'm done. You know, because on the 1st of Shawwal, the life goes back to normal. Subhanallah, on the 1st of Shawwal, the day before the 1st of Shawwal, the day after the 1st of Shawwal is the same to the people of Yemen. And can we visualize that? We say we're living in different times. We are saying that we're living in the new normal. The new normal has been the new normal for the people of Yemen for so many years. Islamic Relief has been on the ground in Yemen since 1998. We've been there for 22 years. And you may ask yourself, why has Islamic Relief been there since 1998 if the war has only happened since 5 years ago? So if we're thinking about that, because Yemen is one of the poorest Middle East country, they've always been struggling with resources with regards to infrastructure. They've always been struggling with regards to water and so forth. Yemen right now, with this conflict that's taking place, is on its knees, barely trying to stand up, about to fall face flat into the ground, if I can call it that, if you can depict that as a picture. And you can think about what is the pressure on the healthcare system? What is the pressure on the education system? Is there an education system? So when we're looking at these things, out of the 24 million individuals in need of humanitarian aid, 4 million are children, women, pregnant women, and lactating women who are in need of emergency medical supplies because they are severely, and I use the word severely, malnourished. And if you took your finger and you check what the diameter of your finger is, that would be the diameter of the arm of a child that is malnourished and that is in need of emergency supplies. That is the extent of the width of the arm. If you look at our arms, mashallah, our arms are very good, strong muscles, everything is toned, alhamdulillah. But that is the situation right now. So you cannot feed a child that is malnourished, as an example, food, a plate of food. You can't give them, the cereals that they have. They actually get fed with a certain paste just to restore their energy levels. Think about that. This is a crisis that the people of Yemen have not brought upon themselves. You must remember, Islamic Relief works. We're not politically motivated. We're not religiously motivated in terms of we serve the vulnerable community irrespective of who they are and what their affiliations are, because that is where the need is. In many cases, like the children of Yemen will tell you, that we are innocent. What have we done? Why are we being punished like this? That is the kind of conversations that's being had. Add the COVID-19 to this. You can imagine, like I said, imagine the pressures on the healthcare system right now. It is catastrophic at this point in time. If me and you do not come to the aid of the Yemen people, then who is going to come to the aid of these individuals? These children are crying out for assistance. Somebody asked me the question, and maybe I'm not sure this question will come somewhere along the lines of this discussion, but somebody asked me, what is the life of a child like in Yemen, for an example? And think about this. If you have nothing in your belly, how are you able to concentrate or even go to school? How are you able to play any sort of games, and how are you able to do anything? So when you see the smile of a child in Yemen, it is real and genuine smiles, because maybe something has come their way in the terms of a glass of water, a cup of water, for example, and the tears that they shed are genuine tears of distraught and real need that they have. And we just need to visualize that. Our children cry many times for various things, but those children cry because they are facing the pangs of hunger. They are seeing people dying around them. They are seeing, war being waged around them. They're seeing a pain being buried. And can we imagine all this in a scenario of what's happening in Yemen?
Yes. Now, Abdul-Aleem, I know you mentioned that Yemen obviously is a poverty-stricken country in terms of resources and underdevelopment. But let's just focus on the last few years and to understand the situation. How did this situation escalate to the point that it's become the world's worst humanitarian crisis, which is the case right now?
Absolutely. And like I said, before this conflict even happened, Yemen was the poorest country in the Middle East. And perhaps if you took it out of the Middle East, and you compare it to many other countries, it was a very poor country. Natural resources were very limited, and even water was a scarce commodity at that time already. That is the reason Islamic Relief has been there since 1998, to try and secure and look after the community and trying to help them from a sustainability point of view to take care of themselves. But you must remember that anything doesn't happen without the intervention sometimes of outside, of people sponsoring, supporting from outside. And obviously, we know we depend on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for assisting us in everything that we do. So can we imagine you're already living in a country that had almost nothing to a country that has been just, the conflict has destroyed its infrastructure, that the little that has been there. Can we imagine any water works projects that has taken place? One of the projects that we are busy with is to resuscitate the water plantations, as I can call it, the water works as such, to make sure that the communities and the villages are getting water, the running water to them. But can you imagine that was already depleted before the conflict? During the conflict, it got smashed to smithereens, as I can call it that. And now they are in need of assistance. And Brother Inayet, subhanAllah, you can't speak enough about the crisis, the humanitarian crisis. You can't speak enough about the silence from mainstream media. And you know what, me and you and the viewers and the listeners, we have a job to do. We have a job, and our job is to take care of our brothers and sisters, irrespective of where they find themselves. Right now, this evening, we are speaking about our brothers and sisters in a forgotten land of Yemen. If we just ask those who have studied, and there's been many people who have studied in Yemen from South Africa, that's gone to do some studies, Islamic studies in Yemen, and you ask them, what are the people like? What are the people like of Yemen? They'll tell you they are soft people, they are welcoming people, they'll share their glass of water with you. That, you know what? They just lovely people. They got warm hearts, soft hearts, and so forth. So for this crisis and this conflict to be afflicting a community as such, testing their resolve, testing their sabr and their patience, it is up to me and you to bring hope and create that hope by whatever contribution it is that we are making, inshallah.
Abdul-Aleem, let's just talk a bit about the immediate challenges that are facing the people of Yemen right now, which Islamic Relief is addressing with a sense of urgency.
As I've mentioned, malnourishment is one of the big things. And I think when we're looking at our children, we're looking at, whether we fathers or mothers, we uncles, we aunts, we are grandparents, and we look at our children. And even if we don't have children, we look at the children of our neighbors. Alhamdulillah, mashallah, we see how beautiful it is that they can play, they can do so many things. Even going through lockdown, they've had things to keep them active. Can we imagine 3 million children in Yemen being malnourished? And then you're going to the women that, as I mentioned, that are pregnant, that are lactating. They are facing malnourishment, severe malnourishment at this point in time. Again, when we sit at our tables at night and we consume the food, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us and favored us, alhamdulillah, let us always spare a thought before we push something aside, before we move something aside, to think about those who are less than we have. Our brothers and sisters are in need of that. Our brothers and sisters in Yemen are in need of water. It's a scarce commodity, as I've mentioned, basic hygiene. We're speaking about COVID-19, we're speaking about constantly having to sanitize our hands, constantly having to wash our hands and so forth. If there's no running water, how do we keep things sanitary, if you can call it that? That is how we need to think about it. That is a mechanism of us improving the lives of those in Yemen. The main concern is the state of the healthcare system as well. We can only imagine that it is under severe pressure at this point in time, with COVID-19, with the malnutrition, with the escalation of the conflict. We can only imagine the challenges that are being faced. So the healthcare system right now is completely decimated. Islamic Relief is working on the ground, and there are 22 governorates in Yemen, and Islamic Relief is in 17 of the 22. In a few others, in 2 or 3 of the other governorates, we still have a presence in the medical facilities. We're still able to afford medical assistance, but in the other 17 that I've just mentioned, we are able to support on a big scale via food and so forth, in terms of that. So that is, one of the things. The country is faced with severe diarrhea at this point in time. Again, you look at, there's no clean running water, no basic needs are being taken care of. These things do happen because any water that is around and people need to consume, this is what they consume. I think these are very important stats that we just need to look at. The quarantine facilities is under pressure. So the medical side of things is under immense pressure. And added to that is the fact that we have COVID-19. Can we imagine, people are dying from curable diseases that we find in South Africa that you can be cured from. People are dying in Yemen because there is no cure. And although the cures are available, they are unable to get that. And we look at things like cholera and so forth that is prevalent within those communities. Again, I just remind myself of the benefits and the privileges that we have in this country where we are living in, alhamdulillah.
Yes, now also, Abdul-Aleem, talking about the healthcare and the relief effort on the part of Islamic Relief is not only about providing medication or food, but also at the same time in terms of building capacity. Because this is very, very important as far as health workers are concerned, to build that capacity. And with your presence being there for a very, very long time, at the same time, it's about getting access to all the areas or to as many areas as you can. And some of them are very, very remote. And if you could just take us through these two aspects in terms of building health capacity or medical capacity, and also how does Islamic Relief actually gain access to some of these areas?
So, firstly, building the capacity, I think we must understand that Islamic Relief brings in the expertise into a place like Yemen from outside, but works with the locals. So there are locals that have the expertise, but in terms of increasing and transference of knowledge and skill set, we are part of that as well. So that is one of the ways that Islamic Relief does to make sure that we provide the best possible healthcare to those who are in need. How is it that we are able to get to remote areas? I think one of the things that we've mentioned in the beginning is that us maintaining neutrality with regards to the conflict. We are impartial. Our organization is transparent. We've been there for over 22 years. We are trusted by all sectors, and that makes it easier for us to get into those remote areas and service our most vulnerable communities. And I think, just with regards to that, we need to think about how is it that we are going to take this forward and make sure that we get into the other 5 governorates going forward, and that we can only do via the support of our community once again.
Involved in helping the people of Yemen? Abdul-Aleem, I'm not too sure whether you heard me. The question I raised is in terms of helping and assisting and people wanting to get involved, how can we help the people of Yemen?
Subhanallah, Bismillah. You know what? If you think about how do we start our help, one of the ways that we can start our help is when we're making salah, and I'm sure that everybody makes salah 5 times a day, just to make dua, firstly, for those brothers and sisters that find themselves in these harsh, challenging and difficult conditions. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to ease the plight of our brothers and sisters and our children in Yemen. The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said that, this ummah is like one body. If one part of the body is hurt, the entire body feels it. And we have the opportunities to show this also via another hadith of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, where he has said that, he is not a believer unless he loves for his brother what he loves for himself. We love to be comfortable. We love to be eating a good meal at night. We like to be sleeping comfortably at night. Can we think about all those things? We like to see our children grow up. We need to wish that and make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants our brothers and sisters in Yemen exactly the same. The next way we can get involved is to go onto our website, and you can go on to Islamic Relief, the 3 W's, islamic-relief.org.za, and you can become a volunteer. So obviously the first one you're going to do, inshallah. The second one you also can do as being a volunteer. So it's not one or the other, it's both, inshallah. And then you can become a volunteer in terms of assisting, in terms of raising funds, much needed funds for our brothers and sisters in Yemen. Failure to which, and maybe you can do all three. You can also go onto our website and see what the cost of medical emergency medical supplies for the malnutrition individuals are, maybe food for a family for a month, or perhaps water for maybe 6 families for an entire month. Maybe you don't have that kind of money. Some people look at it and say, I don't have X amount of money, but I can give so much. And maybe you can give your so much, and you have your cousins and your brothers and your sisters and whoever else. And as a collective, you are able to sponsor 6 families with water for an entire month. Alhamdulillah. Remember, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam also said that the best of charities to give is that of water. So every drop of water that we give in terms of charity allows that these people will be making dua for us. Can we imagine that? Everybody making dua for us, and being part of that. So those are the 3 ways that I suggest that each and every person can get involved. You can do all 3 as well. Can we imagine, Brother Inayet, if you just allow me another few seconds, inshallah, is that on the day of Qiyamah, when each and every one of us are looking for good deeds, there will be this child that we've never ever met before, never ever seen before. And this child will tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh Allah, it is because of him. Oh Allah, it is because of her. When I was hungry, that brother and that sister made sure I had something to eat. I had some sustenance. Oh Allah, when I was cold and I was hot and it was summer or it was winter, they made sure I had shelter. Oh Allah, forgive them. Oh Allah, when I lost my limbs in a conflict which I had no party to, I did nothing. Oh Allah, they made sure I had prosthetic limbs. I had medical care. Can we imagine that being on our scale of good deeds? Subhanallah. That is something that I think will be definitely something we all aspire to. So I urge brothers and sisters this evening to make your contribution, whatever it is, whether it be 10 Rand, whether it be 100 Rand, whether it be 1,000 Rand, or even 10,000 Rand, doesn't matter. There is no limits. Bismillah, make a contribution and only count on your scale of good deeds. Subhanallah. We need those people in Yemen more than they need us. Trust me, they have Allah on their side. So we need to help them as far as we possibly can, inshallah. Brother Inayet.
Yes, Abdul-Aleem, I'm just going to repeat the numbers. You have got a toll-free line, 0800 111 898. You've got a WhatsApp number, 073 154 5369. And obviously, Islamic-relief.org.za. And also, you've got social media pages and your regional offices in Johannesburg, Durban, and in Cape Town, inshallah.
Inshallah. Absolutely. And as I said, you can contact us on those toll-free numbers. You can send us a WhatsApp. And any questions you have, any clarity that you require, you can come into our offices as well. We follow strict rules of PPE in terms of the COVID-19 pandemic. So we make sure that we have masks on, and we scan you and screen you as you come into our building as well. So there's no fear about that. We follow all the necessary protocols when it comes to that. I think the most important, engage us, talk to us. And if you'd like to assist us in raising funds, much needed funds for our brothers and sisters in Yemen, please let us know. We are open to suggestion. We are open to discussion with yourselves. And if you have something that you'd like to give, Bismillah, make that contribution as well, inshallah.
Well, Abdul-Aleem, I must say, Jazakallah to you, shukran for your time and coming on and talking with us this evening here on Salam Media. We wish Islamic Relief all the best, and also our thoughts, our du'as, and our hearts go out to the people of Yemen and all the refugees right across the entire world, those who are internally and externally displaced as well. But for now, shukran for your time. Assalamu alaikum. That was Abdul-Aleem Gamza joining us this evening out of Cape Town. And just talking about Yemen Crisis 2020, where Islamic Relief South Africa has launched an appeal to South Africans to support Islamic Relief and their projects in Yemen. We're going for a break. We'll be back.